Once upon a time, in a village, lives a farmer who owns a horse. The horse was his pride and it was his joy. It helps the farmer earn money for his family. But one day, the horse, it ran away. When the community hears about this, they come after the farmer and they say, "Oh no, we've heard about what happened. We feel sorry for you. What are you going to do now without it? This is bad." The farmer stood still, remains calm, and replies, maybe. The next morning, not only does the horse comes back, but it also brings back 3 wild horses. When the community hears about this, they come after the farmer again, but this time they say, "Wow, what good luck you have. Now you have 4 horses. This is good." The farmer still remains calm and replies, maybe. The next day, the farmer's son got bored, so out of boredom, he tried to tame one of the wild horses. But because of his lack of experience, he fell from the horse, and the horse kicked him, broke his leg in 3 parts. When the community hears about this, they come after the farmer again, and they still do the same thing. They'll say, "This is terrible. If it's not for the wild horse that your horse brings back, your son wouldn't be crippled." The farmer still remains calm and replies, maybe. The next morning, the military comes to the village to look for young men to draft to the army. They took a glance at the farmer's son and they said, "We can't draft him. He's crippled. He got a broken leg." After the villagers witnessed that the farmer's son doesn't have to be drafted to the army because of his conditions, they all say, "Wow, what good luck you have. Your son doesn't have to go to war. Our son, they got drafted." Ladies and gentlemen, moral of the story is, it is so easy for us human beings to develop negative mindset when something bad, quote-unquote bad, happens in our life. But good, bad, who knows? How do you know something is good or bad if you can't see the whole picture when you don't know the long run? My dear friends, back when I was a kid, I was raised in a family that applies abusive parenting culture. As a kid, I was terrified by my own mother. She was an ambitious and a perfectionist. And those traits causes her to set the high expectations on her children. And as the only boy in the family, I was raised strictly. So whenever I break the regulations that were set by my mom, I would be beaten physically. Whenever school breaks or holidays comes, all my friends get to play games, get to hang out with their friends, gather in a friend's house to play games together, to refresh their minds after a long school days. But my mom was so ambitious, I didn't get to play games at all. Because of her ambitions, in my holidays, I was forced to study and read books. For her, not be able to have good grades will only bring shame to the family and will only tarnish her name. So she would yell at me whenever I was caught slacking off. She would yell at me to get my books and get into my bedroom to start reading books. And if I refuses, she would get anything beside her, whether it's a plate, whether it's a belt, whether it's a hanger, and she would start smacking me with it. So, Years have passed and I've reached junior high. But after all those years, yet still the same parenting culture applied. So out of my consciousness, I have started adapting to their types of parenting. So I become clever, not smart, but clever. So whenever it's time when my mom yelled at me to get my book, to get into my bedroom and start reading, I will always pick that one book that is always the largest book every year, which is English book, size around 7 to 8 inches big. So I will always get that book, and that is not the only thing I bring. So junior high is the first year where I get my electronic gadgets. My mom doesn't allow her children to have phones because she's afraid, she's anxious that we are going to get addicted to phones and games. So she set the no phones rules. As a kid that loves to play games a lot, I often lend my friends' gadgets to play games and have fun with it. So my dad saw me lending my friends' gadgets to play games, so he took pity of me. But he doesn't want to break the rules that my mom has set. So he found a way to not break the rules and still get me an electronic gadget. So instead of a phone, he got me a gadget. He got me a tablet, sorry. And it is 6 to 7 inches big. The only problem is it was too big. So that is the second thing that I bring into my bedroom whenever it's reading time by my mom. So I would bring the tablet. So this is what I do. The tablet will be slipped into the English textbook, right? So the English textbook is big enough to cover the tablet, which is only 6 to 7 inches. So I would slip it inside and I would carry it pretending like I'm only carrying a book, but actually the book, inside the book is a tablet. So I would bring it to my bedroom and I would pretend like I'm reading. But I know that my mom wouldn't just trust me that I'm actually reading a book. So this is what I do. When I get into my room, I would go into the corner of my room, right? And I would sit on the corner and start opening the English book and start playing the games inside the book. So the tablet is covered by the English book. And the reason why I have to sit on the corner always, because I don't want my mom to come check on me from my back, where I don't realize it, and I would be caught red-handed, and that would be terrible. So I didn't want it. So if I sit on the corner, there's no chance for her to check on me from my back without me realizing. So what my mom do is, she would come check on me and she would creep to my bedroom slowly to make sure that there is no sound made. And she would crank the door slowly and open up a little space from the door, a little space enough just to peek in. And she would check on me. So my mom thought that I wouldn't realize that she is checking on me. But after all those years, I have grown clever and I have also grown cautious. So whenever I know that my mom is checking on me, I would pretend like I'm reading, but I'm actually playing a game. So what I did is, I would read out loud a text that exists in almost every single English book. And I would read something like, Bill has a family with a wife and 4 kids. His kids is Andy, Charlie, Rudy, and Peter. Andy loves to run, Charlie loves to blah 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 and blah blah blah. So luckily for me, my mom wasn't so good at English, so she probably doesn't really understand what I'm saying. And then when my mom already confirmed that I'm actually reading a book, instead of going away, she did the other thing, which is she gets into the room and she started praising me. She was like, "That's my good boy, now you are reading a book." And then I don't want my mom to come up near me, of course, because I'm actually playing a game, not reading a book. And if she comes near me, she would see it. Because the tablet is so big, it is so hard for me to hide it, right? So what I did was I would yell at my mom back and I say, "Mom, don't disturb me. Can't you see I'm trying to concentrate here? I'm trying to focus here. I'm trying to memorize what this Bill kid's hobbies is and all of this. I don't want to miss a single text out of this. So my mom would be like, oh yeah, you go do your study. You go study. And she would leave the room, and that is how I managed to play games while it's reading time. And staying at home very long is not a favorable thing for me, because every resting time is not an actual rest. So whenever I was slacking off, whenever I was resting, my mom would yell at my name, boy, come do this, come do that, clean the window, mop the floor, tidy this, tidy that, do this, do that. And there's not an actual rest time for me to actually feel relaxed for a while. She will always call me. So I get tired of that, and I found a way to get out of it, to not stay at home for so long. So what I did was, in junior high, we get to choose an extracurricular from our school. So I almost checklist everything, every extracurricular existing in the list. I almost checklist everything: badminton, football, Scrabble, basketball, speech, and almost all extracurricular. I checklist all of those just to make sure that I don't get home before evening every day. And then I start playing basketball, and then I started falling in love with basketball, and that's how I started a routine in it. And that's how I earn my scholarships today, and I get a free tuition for it. And I consider that as a success for my own. My dear friends, that this is the time when I realize it's actually not that bad to be raised in a strict parenting family. Because there's a lot of things you can learn. I learned how to forgive, I learned how to be clever, and I learned most of the important thing is, because of this situation, it helps me fall in love with basketball. It helps me earn the tuition, the scholarships I have today. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of successful people out there who have so many failures and so many regrets, but that doesn't hold them back from keeping up with their goals, from keep striving to reach their goals. Because of all those failures and all those experiences is what becomes their best teacher, is what helped them shape who they are today, is what helps them to get their success today. So my friends, whenever something bad, quote unquote bad, happens in your life, don't be too quick to judge. Every time something bad happens in your life, just stay still, remain calm, and just like the farmer said, maybe. It's your boy here, peace out.